Right, I've just driven out into Derbyshire. I'm now gone from Greenhill. I'm in Coal Aston, just over the Derbyshire border. But I just wanted to highlight what I mean by planting the right trees in the right place so that they don't cause any problems. So you can see here we've got a very wide grass verge, and we have a lime tree here, and it's a big lime tree, and it's wonderful, and it's a good distance from the housing just across this kind of, it's not a private road, but it's a kind of semi-private road, mainly for parking. And if I just come in, obviously lime trees, as I've said before on a previous video, that they do sucker a lot. But even so, if we look around here, despite this tree being quite big, it's a decent size. It's because the roots have plenty of space around them to spread. The soil when this was planted, and since it was planted, is not particularly compacted. I mean, it'll be compacted a bit because obviously people come on here to mow it several times a year. But it's not compacted because it's not got tons of concrete on it, tons of tarmac on it. It's basically what I'm saying is the plant can spread its roots out, can find the nutrients that it needs to down in the ground. There is no sign of any roots coming out here at all, because there is no what's called a cap. There is no cap. There is no kind of solid base underneath. Well, there might be, but it's probably so far down. It's probably a good 3 or 4 feet down, where it'll probably go into clay, to more solid clay first before it hits the bedrock. So there's plenty of room for the roots to spread both outwards and downwards, and hence you don't get the problems that you get if you try and cram a large forest tree like this, or really any tree other than your smallest trees, such as your mountain ashes, a few small cherries, maybe silver birch. You don't get the same problems because here we have the right tree in the right place. And I'll just stand back so we can actually see how big this tree is. So it's not the biggest lime I've ever seen, but it is probably around about 70, 80 years old, maybe 100. You know, that's a big tree, but it's not causing a problem, any kind of problems to those houses across the road. And if I just take a little bit of a walk along this grass verge, we have another lime here, and the same thing there. You see that the curbstones are perfect, and there are no issues with this. And then here we have a sycamore. Not the biggest sycamore I've ever seen, but now there's a little bit of sinking here, but it's absolutely nothing that's a problem at all. Just simply raising those curb edges would be fine. So that tree is fantastic, and there should be nobody at all that's saying that tree needs to come out, unless of course they do tests on it and it is genuinely diseased. Because obviously street trees, you don't want a dead tree or a dying tree that's going to lose branches next to people's properties or where people are walking. The priority is the people on street trees. The priority is not the trees. The priority is the people who live there. Their everyday life, the quality of their everyday life, and the safety of those people. So yeah, with sycamore, and this shows you why I don't particularly like sycamores for lots of reasons. They're quite boring. They don't colour up very nice in autumn. They tend to suffer a lot from tar spot. The leaves are very big, and they take a long time to rot down. So the people tend to slip on them. They tend to be very slippery. But the other reason is you can see how extensive the roots are. That you do have a crack there on the road that follows that line where the curb edge has sunk. So there is obviously a route going out there. Now, it's still not a problem. It's still, if you come along and you resurface this road, that's nowhere near a bad enough crack to justify taking this tree out. But those lime trees were probably planted at a similar time, and the roots aren't as extensive, the roots aren't as vigorous as a sycamore. Now, sycamores have a reputation for being a very, very sound tree. They especially for upland areas or just exposed areas where you get a lot of wind, they tend not to blow over, and probably the reason is because they do have a very extensive root run that spreads out and really anchors that tree down. What they do tend to do is, and there's at least one example in Sheffield Botanical Gardens, is they tend to lose boughs, and these boughs are very, very big. And obviously, if you have that on a street and somebody's walking underneath it, or there's a car underneath it, or somebody's bungalow roof, then you can see the damage and the upset and the hassle that causes. The number one priority again is, regarding street trees, and this is only regarding street trees, is the people come first, not the trees. So with that, I'm probably gonna go and have a look round Nether Edge now. The only reason I've come out to Coal Aston is to grab a bit of dinner. But now I'm nice and full. I'll pop down to Nether Edge and have a look to see what's proposed there. So bye for now.